Hello again. Let's see, catching up on what I've done with dolls since the last video. First thing, I said about that little bright horse rider body that I would put a pumpkin head on it, probably, and I did. And then I decided to paint her in classic Japanese bunka doll style. I don't know if close-ups are going to work. I have pictures of her on my Flickr, Dolls Ahoy on Flickr, link will be below. And just being silly with this, I think she's worked out pretty well, considering painting the body. And also I was curious, I know there are tutorials out there for painting bunka dolls, but I was curious if anyone wanted to see how I paint it. I could figure out how to rig up the camera to record it and show you. If you want, let me know in the comments. And let's see, I got to the thrift stores again on Wednesday. Mostly it was disappointing, although I found a whole bunch of Monster High forearms and hands. It's like after years of finding the dolls without the arms and hands, I guess the arms and hands are finally showing up. So I did get some of those, and I will use them even though they don't match, because arms and hands are good. I also found a Lala Loopsy Girls Crumbs Sugar Cookie is their body. Now if you've been following my Flickr and other areas, you know that I have already put the head on a Disney Star Darlings body. I was thinking about putting the head on that Winx body I thrifted the other day because I thought the stylized body and the stylized head would work well together, but the skin tone match was terrible. And I eventually realized that this curvy body would work better with all the curves and curls on the head, and I think she works pretty well. I have put a wash on her hair to try to bring up more detail. I'm not sure if I like that or not. I'm not sure if I want to keep her pristine and shiny and futuristic, or if I want to make her look kind of grungy and antique and, well, like a spooky doll with black button eyes that she is. Dolls are always evolving, right? So today we had to go out of our ordinary haunts because we had to pick up the replacement spring for the garage door that broke last week. And we decided on the way back that we would stop at Michael's because of all the Halloween spooky stuff showing up now. And we pulled in the parking lot and found out that that Michael's is gone. So I said, since I sat out in the car while you got the garage spring, would you be willing to sit out in the car while I ran into Goodwill really fast? And he said, sure. So I ran in. I didn't expect to find anything, which means I came out with an armload. First was a Pretty in Plaid Barbie from '98. It's a fairly basic doll. I know there are a lot of people who don't like the Mackie face because it did get oversaturated in the late 90s, but I grew up in the 70s, 80s where Superstar Barbie was it. I remember when the Bob Mackie dolls debuted in 90, 91, and those were these rare collectible dolls that I thought looked so cool because they had a closed mouth. So I'm honestly not sure if I really like the Mackie face or if I just have so much nostalgia for what a breath of fresh air it was to get it in the 90s in Playline. So when a Mackie face shows up on the table with everything that you can fit into a bag for $2.99, I'm probably going to get her. Plus, this one had red gunk on the face and red gunk in the hair. I thought maybe it was nail polish, but now I'm thinking it's just lipstick. And I will work on getting rid of that. I mean, I might paint her completely green like I have the last two Mackie Barbies I've had. I'm not sure. We'll see. You'll find out when I do. And I found good old Liv. You know, I've had this relationship with Liv bodies. When they were new and in the stores, I was not impressed with them because I don't like having a double hinge without a pivot to go with it. But then they started showing up secondhand, and it was like, yeah, okay, I'll get some secondhand Liv dolls. They'll come in handy. And then they disappear from the shelves, so you can only get them secondhand, and suddenly it's a must buy them all. So, the latest in buying all the Liv dolls. And I found a fashionista Same thing, when they were on the shelf on the pegs, like, it's a decent body, it has its limitations, I'm not paying $15 for it. And then they started showing up secondhand, and I started snapping them up. This one is, let me check my notes. She has the 2005 Barbie sculpt with the open smile, which I'm not sure I've ever had this before. And this is the one used as summer. And I actually really like her low, wide eyes and bright seafoam green eye makeup. So she might get to keep this head on this body. But whoever owned her before did cut off her bangs, so that's as good an excuse as any for a reroot someday. And I found Scares Genifire. Again, like I said, most Monster High dolls are missing some of their limbs. But, well, and she's also missing her tail, but that's okay. This doll's probably going to be completely customized, rerooted, use this hair for other dolls. And the thing is, you know, I mentioned the other day, I found arms and hands. Well, I found a left arm and hand. Yes, it's from Cleoli. But hey, gold, gold. That works for me, at least for now. We'll see where it goes. And then I found Flava's Happy D. I know we were just talking about Flava's the other day on Tumblr. And I don't know, it's just really cool for me to find Flava's. Happy D is, I mean, of course Tika or Keone Brown would have been better. Happy D I always felt like was Barbie trying to fit in with the cool kids. But it's still an interesting sculpt. And this is the one with the braided hair texture, which is interesting. I'm not sure if she'll keep it, if only because I'm not sure how culturally appropriate it is for her these days. But that's something to figure out in the future. I mean, her hands, she has stress marks in her fingers, and she's missing her thumb here completely. So she'll probably end up on a different body anyway, although I might see if I can salvage this body. Because, at least from the hips up, it is an interesting little body. And then Ashlyn and Hunter! I finally have my first ever After High male doll. Again, I'm a cheapskate. I tend to prefer to buy on thrift because what I'm probably going to do is rip them apart and put them back together with different pieces I ripped off of other dolls. And also, I like the randomness of it. I like walking in and saying, wow, I never thought I'd have that doll, or wow, that's a weird doll I've never seen before. What can I do with it to make it work? However, I have a feeling Hunter, thanks to John and Chris, is going to end up with Alan's head. We'll see. And no sewing stuff today, it's all dolls. That's just a real quick update on what I found thrifting today. Thanks!